What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Six Figure Vet Podcast, where we share the success stories of veterans that have successfully unlaced the boots. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast on all streaming platforms and give us a follow on the gram at the Six Figure Vet.
I'm a six-figure vet, self-made, self-built, didn't stop, dedicated, stay down till I came up, that's patience. Dreaming to goals to plans to execution.
In honor of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we have the founder of Glass Soldier Foundation, which is a duty-bound and data-driven non-profit organization whose mission is to end sexual assault in the U.S. military. Dr. Diandra Poe, y'all. Now, our good sis also does independent work as a prevention specialist with her for-profit consulting business, Act to End. Dr. D has carved out a distinguished career as a multifaceted professional specializing in the realm of psychotherapy, psychoeducation, and counseling. With the commitment to addressing the present issues of sexual trauma and abuse, she has extended her expertise across diverse platforms and institutional settings, ranging from the Baltimore Human Trafficking Task Force, to currently serving as an adjunct professor at the University of Kentucky, enriching the education experience of students with real world insights. Outside of her professional accolades, she is a mother, a boss, a woman that keeps her youth by drinking her water and minding her business, y'all. Okay. A voice for the voiceless, and we gonna protect this good sis at all costs. Welcome to the Six Figure Podcast, Dr. D.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you for having me on. Every time somebody reads my bio, I'm like, man, they make me sound way cooler than I am.
No, you really like that. You really like that. Okay. And you need to be reminded that you really like that.
Every day.
Every single
I
day.
did that. Yeah.
Hey, that was me. So, Dr. D, let's get into it. Tell us who Diandra was prior to joining the armed forces. What were you like prior to joining the military? Give us that backstory.
So, funny thing, I don't think my personality has changed at all in terms of like my moniker is I'm the hypest introvert you'll ever meet. Right. So
I love that.
that's me. So my introverted nature is, to be by myself, and self-care and just sitting still and enjoying, life and cherishing those moments. But the hype part is I'm an empowerer. Did I just make up a word? Empowerer?
It's okay. We're going to go with it.
That is, but at the core of me, I like to empower people. I like to teach people to fish. I want them to build their resiliency. So prior to going in, I was a mom and a wife of an active duty service member. So, the Army was not new to me. It was new to everybody else,
Okay.
but I was like, this game ain't new to me.
So you
So
was
I
a
had already,
dependent first?
yes.
That
Yep.
is so out of the ordinary.
Yes. Yeah, a
Okay,
lot of people
go
ask,
on.
why in the world would you join? Why? Knowing what you've been through. Yeah, my first marriage was just riddled with domestic violence, just issues that you face as young people getting married, somebody running away from trauma that was at home. So, a lot of people would have asked, like, why in the world would you put on that uniform? But they also became my family. And I
Yeah.
got used to that lifestyle of connecting with people that needed help. I think I was just out, if I want to put my social work hat on, I was constantly in survival mode and then trying to help other people, running away from what was going on with me. If I can't help me, I'm gonna help somebody else.
Oh, wow. What a
And
dangerous
so,
place
yeah.
that is to be in for yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Hindsight's always 2020 though, right? Every time we look back, it's very clear.
Every time. Yes. So what made you be like, okay, so so you're in this dependent state where your husband at the time was active duty. What made you be like, okay, me next. Put me in a game, coach. I'm ready.
It wasn't me. That's the crazy part. It wasn't me. I had zero plans to go into the military at that point in my life. Now, I got to go back for like 20 seconds to go forward. When I left high school, my plan was to go into the Air Force. But when I showed up at MEPS, I was pregnant. So they were like, nope. It's like, okay. So going forward, I didn't have any plans by then. I'm a mother of 3. And so I
Okay.
had already been working in the FRG program, really immersing myself in the spousal side of things in terms of the military, putting on that role of helping other spouses wherever I was, my duty station. And so his commander at the time loved what I was doing within the FRG and working with the other ladies. And he just came up to me one day and was like, "You'd make a great commander." I was like, "I rebuke you. Shut your mouth."
Not me. Who?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Confused much?
Listen, as I was wielding a knife and he's like looking at me like, Joker. Yeah, he planted that seed and then just he knew what was going on. And I think he also felt like his hands were tied in terms of the response from the domestic violence. I think there are many people in the military, whatever branch it is, that know that things are going on within people's homes and feel like their hands are tied. Like they go to the commanders, they go to their leaders, their first line supervisors, and they tell them, but then they feel like their hands are tied. Unless that spouse comes to us and reports it, there's nothing that we can do. And so
Yeah.
despite my efforts to try to get help and be in this space, I thought it'd be better for me to work on me than to try to fix him because the army wasn't
Most
going to do it.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. An
Um,
institution like the military is not built to fix those type of problems.
mm-mm. Yeah, no, not
It's
not
not.
right, not right now. Well, I say if we can catch it in a prevention from a prevention standpoint, we can prevent it. We can prevent it
So how
at
do
a
you do that
minimum. Try to
though?
reduce it.
Like, what are the
Ooh.
signs that you like when you put on this prevention hat, right? What are the signs
Mhm.
that you're looking for? That's like, okay, intervention needs to be done because in order to prevent, you have to intervene, right?
Yeah, you do, and you have to catch it
Okay.
early. I mean, from a prevention standpoint, it's catching people early and understanding the behaviors that everybody comes with something baggage no matter what it is. I don't care if you grew up in a 2-parent home and your mom and your dad were
Right.
loving and you literally were the Huxtables, right? Doesn't matter. You still, life is still going to come at you and still going to punch you in the face, right? So you're still coming
Mhm.
with some stuff. It's really teaching them before they come in the fundamentals of what healthy communication is, healthy relationship, professional boundaries from a leadership perspective. How can you set professional boundaries with someone who literally by the the standard of the organization, this symbol on my chest tells me that I can violate you. So
Yeah.
it's an approach that has to from the bottom all the way up, right? Not just
Yeah.
teaching those that come in, but also officers, also our leaders that are given this
Yeah.
incredible responsibility at the same age. You got to think about it. Most officers come in, young officers are 24, 25.
Yep.
They don't know nothing either.
And you don't realize
And
that,
I
like,
was
I came in the military when I was like, I think 18, and I got out when I was 27. And so I think at my last command, my ensign was like a year younger than me. My
like,
divisional officer, he was a year younger than me.
yeah.
So I'm like,
What you know?
Like,
What you know
boy,
about life?
right, boy.
Goodbye.
So,
Exactly.
I done did 3 deployments, and you just coming, you coming out of the Naval Academy, you know?
Exactly.
So, definitely taking that into consideration. How long did you serve?
6 years.
6 years. 6 years.
Hmm.
Okay. So, Dr. D, you are well known for your works and your advocacy on behalf of military members that unfortunately became survivors of sexual assault. Um, Before we discuss any personal experience, I would like to hear your thoughts on how sexual assault is portrayed in the military today, and what are your observations or reflections on this, and how does it correlate to your own experience with sexual assault in the ranks?
So it's twofold, right? Because we have the civilian side of it, and then we have the military side. From within, you have leaders that don't are disconnected from
Mhm.
accountability and boots on the ground, right? Not understanding it. And then you have the civilian side who really don't understand how big of an issue it is, because from their perspective, the language that I hear is, why don't you just leave? Or is it really that bad? But when you understand that the military is just a microcosm of our society, you understand how bad it
Yeah.
is. And that part is hard to convey to people, because as I
Yeah.
tell people, if you were working at Google, let's just take a large organization like Google, or Amazon or something. If you went to work at Amazon and they told you there's a 1 in 3 chance that you're going to be sexually assaulted, where Amazon going to be at?
Ranked at the bottom if open, period.
Exactly. 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 But I don't think people put it in that perspective, that as large as Amazon is, and I would have to run the numbers, how many employees are in in Amazon versus how many active duty components that we have, because we're still the 1%, right, that are serving.
Mhm.
You put those numbers up against any large organization and people would be ready to shut it down.
Now, Dr. D, okay, wait a minute, because you just said a statistic that I want to kind of backtrack on. You said 1 in 3.
1 in 3.
Is that what statistic is that? Is that the statistic of the possibilities of you being sexually assaulted within the ranks?
It is.
That is mind blowing. Do you realize how high of a statistic that is?
Correct.
A third of our military has been or will be sexually assaulted.
Or harassed. Absolutely. And 1 in 50
Like,
men.
why ain't they talking about this from the mountaintops?
Because it's an all volunteer army. And in our one, we need our DOD. And that's again, a catchphrase that I say all the time. I, I am in the business of creating soldiers, not survivors. A lot of people wonder why I want to continue to work with the DOD and why I'm not angry. Of course, I'm angry. I'm a survivor. I'm pissed that this continues to happen. There's not a single
Right.
person that I would ever want to go through what I went through, but that doesn't fix the issue. And the larger issue is it happens in society. And if we continue to just put soldiers, or airmen, or sailors, or marines out of the military with no accountability, they wind up in our society. They wind up as civilians who assault and civilians who harass.
Yes,
So
literally.
yeah. um and so yeah, that statistic is alarming, but not alarming enough.
Right. And you know what's crazy? Like, I remember being like at my first command and seeing like, having experiences with people, because I was on an aircraft carrier. So it's like a super big ship. So it's like 5,000 people on this one boat, and you're going on a deployment for 5,000 people, and then getting off. And now I'm a civilian, and some of these people, I see them in the news for committing the most heinous crimes. like the most
Mhm.
terrible crimes. And it's like they were the same person in the ranks.
Yeah.
And and some
A
of
lot
these
of people.
people wrote evals. Some of these people had junior sailors under them. Some of these people were in leadership positions. And
Yes.
then they're real live monsters though.
Absolutely. And real life people saw that behavior and didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Recognizing the behaviors, how to teach people to recognize grooming behaviors, manipulative behaviors, and calling them out.
Yes.
I guarantee you that every person that is sitting in Leavenworth, nearly every person that's sitting at Fort Leavenworth for sexual assault or any type of sexual violence got stellar evaluations. How?
That
How, Sway?
right. Like, where is the correlation there for you to be such a mate? Because morality is supposed to be somewhere in our clauses, right? Like, it's supposed to be a part
Absolutely.
of us.
Every
Being so,
Every branch
how
has
does that
value,
work?
has those core values. Yeah, every branch has their core
Right.
values. Every last one of them. I don't. The
So, as a
Army
junior
is
sailor,
integrity. Mhm.
yes, it's the Navy's honor, courage, commitment. That's the Navy's. But there's no honor in sexually assaulting someone. Um
Right.
so as a junior sailor, right? Right. So I want to get into, even though you had already had some experiences with the military by being a dependent, right? And you served 6 years. So give me the time frame of when you went through your sexual assault. Like, was it towards the middle of your career? Was it more towards like the beginning, or like as you were deciding to transition out? Or walk me through where that came up at.
It was the first 90 days of me getting to my first duty station. Yeah, in processing, which is
For one,
typical.
I
And
want to
again,
apologize because that's terrible.
yeah,
So what made you say, "You know what? I'm not taking that," because I read somewhere, you know, that sexual assault, especially in the military, goes super underreported. Like, it's not report, like all cases are not reported. And the statistics probably will be even scarier because so many cases go unreported. So what made you say, especially being as a black woman, and then as a black woman within ranks, and then as a black woman officer, you already got a billion cajillion bazillion eyes on you and strikes against you and people waiting for you to mess up? What made you say, I'm about to tell somebody? Somebody got to know. Because a lot of times when
my
this
daughters.
happens, it's like, really?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. How did she encourage you to come forth? How did she give you that courage to come forth?
So, the very brief timeline goes, I got to my duty station without my children in December of 2011, which is when I commissioned from Bowie State University. Shout out to Bowie State University, HBCU in Maryland.
Shout out to,
Um,
yes.
so I got to Fort Stewart in December 2011. My children had not arrived yet because they were coming to live with me after the Christmas holiday. And so as I'm in processing, like everyone else in the military, when you in process, and they separate the officers from enlisted. And so
Of
it was
course.
myself and one other officer who um, went through the in processing. So we decided to team up. He outranked me by a couple of ranks and was like, "Hey, I've done this before. I can help you out." The grooming process began. And so fast forward, the assault happened right before the Super Bowl. Um, I didn't tell anyone at first because of the threats, because of his rank, and the things that he said to me. But then one day, my daughter was being bullied at school. This was her third school in 1 year. And she came home and was like, I don't know what to do. I'm not making any friends. And so, as I'm having this very poignant conversation with my child who's in elementary school, I just remember encouraging her and saying, listen, like, it's not going to stop unless you stop it. Like, you have to stand up to your bullies. And it just hit me
Yeah.
like a ton of bricks. I'm allowing him to get away with this.
Yeah.
He's harassed
Yeah.
me. He's made threatening text messages. I don't feel safe. I can't do my job. And because of that conversation with my daughter, led me to reach out to my mentor and ask, like, what do I need to do? Because I can't,
Wow.
these three people that didn't ask to be here, who I love and would give my life for, I need to protect and do everything I can for them.
It's crazy how your kids will give you the strength to fight battles you didn't think you were capable of winning.
Yeah.
Even though you are, right? You're definitely capable. But they just give you this like this Hulk energy from somewhere. They give you
Oh,
this Hulk
yeah.
energy that makes you feel like you can conquer the world, and then you fuck around and find out that you actually can conquer the world. And then you go on and start nonprofits and, consulting businesses, and you just go on to do great things. And that's just kind
I
kind of
love
how
it.
that plays out.
Right.
Um, when you were because you said that he threatened you, and that was one of the things that kind of kept you from saying anything, which is totally understandable. You have to work with this person, they already outrank you. um what if you, as a prevention specialist, right, what are how would you advise a junior sailor or just a sailor in general to kind of deal with some of that fear that comes along? Or what can you, within the ranks, right? Within the ranks, what were some tactics of intimidation that tactics tactics of intimidation that you faced to try to keep you silenced?
Well, from the prevention standpoint, when I go out and I do these talks, when I talk to service members about what to look for, they already see it. And again, from a leadership perspective, you already know when when that officer or that senior enlisted takes a special interest in the private coming in or that junior soldier, stop that mess right there. Those are the
Yeah.
things that I didn't understand that were happening in the grooming process within the military context. Out, grooming in the civilian side and grooming in the military is not too off, but there's a power dynamic that comes along with it. And so them inserting themselves in your life, like I'm the one that can help you. He offered to be my emergency contact to my children because I was brand new. Offering things that only he could, like, look at me, I'm just this great guy, I can help you. I know you're here by yourself and you need someone to vouch for you,
It was
or
almost like he was
whatever.
preying on you.
Absolutely, that's why they're called predators. Absolutely. Now, again, I say this with the caution of not everyone who offers you a hand up is preying on you, right? It's not
Yeah.
manipulating you, but the goal is to teach our service members to recognize these behaviors and to make sure it doesn't turn into anything manipulative. You work with someone day in and day out. Y'all are going through the rigmarole of leadership doesn't understand, I'm a single mom, or I'm going through divorce. All these factors that play into our mental health being in this particular job. You are going to have some emotional connection to the people you work with because they're
That is a
supposed to be your
mind-numbing
battle.
thought. Yes. Yes. And
Yeah,
they put on that title as a wolf in sheep's clothing.
yeah.
I'm your friend, I'm your battle. Let me help you with your kids. Boy, have you lost your damn mind?
Yeah. And
That's
so
crazy.
teaching someone to understand the difference between unit cohesion and battle buddy and manipulator and predator.
Mhm.
There's a power dynamic that comes along with it. Again, you got someone who by sheer oath of office says that this symbol that I wear on my chest tells me that I can control certain things about your life, your job, aspects of where when you can leave, when you can go home, if you can take
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
The thing that's about human behavior is we're always going to try to get away with something if we can. We will always try it if we think we can get away with it. We
Yeah.
will toe the line.
Mhm.
So
You're absolutely correct.
you add power to that, and yeah, I'm gonna go further. So my role is just to equip service members with understanding those behaviors, and then to challenge our leaders with the accountability of stop that behavior now. Not just stop it, but make it in a way that the negative reinforcement is if I see you doing it again, if I catch you,
Right. Right.
you're done. I'm not taking into consideration that you've served for 16 years. I don't care if you got a Purple Heart. I don't care what you went and did and deployed. The second that you violate someone else, none of that matters.
None of it
None of
matters.
that matters. But until we get there, this two-headed monster of accountability and prevention is hard to wrestle.
Yeah. Especially when somebody is pounded and freaking loaded with accolades.
Mhm.
Especially when somebody's
Yeah.
loaded with accolades. Is that's another thing. Dr. D, I wanna segue into what performative advocacy work is. Tell us what that is, because a lot of people don't know what performative advocacy work is. And we the people need to talk about it. We need to bring performative advocacy work to the stage. Okay.
Um, so it's twofold, right? In a society right now where social media, um, and dare I say pick me culture, right?
Girl, let's talk. Pick me
Hmm.
culture.
Yeah.
If I had ad
Um,
libs on here, I would make you echo. Pick me, pick me, pick me.
this space is because on the other side of that the first time I've ever heard the word performative in front of something in a negative way was performative politics, right? So we talk
Mhm.
about the people that are just good at saying stuff, right? Great sound bites
Right.
can go out here and just, and I don't think there's anything wrong with motivational speakers. Okay. I everyone needs someone to like validate and identify what
Yes.
they're going through and go, you know what?
Yes.
That was me too. You want
Right.
to be able to look at someone that looks like you or has been down a similar road as you because listen, I tell people all the time, my story is not unique. My journey is. Unfortunately, this story has been repeated over and over again by other men and women in the military. But when it comes to performative advocacy, what are you doing? Because I don't like to use flowery language. I don't get up and go to these units and give them the motivation and go, okay, you go get them, Tiger. No,
Right.
that is to me performative advocacy is the accountability. It's asking the soldiers while who are in the audience, are you having a difficult time? It's asking the commanders, where is family advocacy? Who are y'all connecting with outside of this base that can help them when your mental health is overrun and they can't get an appointment for 3 months? Where are the other
Right.
people and collaborative partners? That is to me performative advocacy is the collaboration and understanding I can't do this in a silo and I need help. Yeah.
Yes.
Mic drop.
So perform mic drop. Perform it. And you know what's crazy? I never really thought about, so First of all, Dr. D, you put me on with performative advocacy because I didn't know what the hell that was. So as I go in and I research it, immediately I start thinking about, the Black Lives Matter movement and George Floyd, and all of a sudden everybody on social media is this Black activists with their picket signs and their cool, wristbands with a hashtag on it that's tie-dye, and now
Mhm.
Target got a Black History line, and everybody's just on this Black wave, and it's like, no, this is real life do or die for the people that look like me. This is real life do or die for my Black son. This is real life do or die for my Black father, my uncle, my cousin, my friend, my man, my husband. This is real
Right.
life for us. So it's not just a cool thing to do because it's trending on X
Right.
or Twitter or Threads,
Yeah.
And so then I see that you bring it up in the sexual assault realm, and it almost, and I'm gonna put our business out here a little bit. Sorry, Dr. D. But Dr.
Right.
D was telling me how, this month she was taking it easy with sexual assault. And I understand because you have this month, this 1 month, right? And now everybody's harping on this one topic. Everybody's harping on sexual assault this month. But this
Mhm.
Black woman that has went through this trauma, this is her world, this is her life, this is what she's on the front line battling each and every day outside of April. And I just got to give you your flowers for that, because I could only understand, I couldn't imagine how triggering it is for you to be on these front lines fighting this fight when you've been shot by this same bullet before. How does that how do you deal with that, Dr. D? How do you balance that? How do you keep yourself from being triggered when you have a soldier that's like, "Yo, can I talk to you on the side? This has happened to me." How do you keep yourself from being triggered?
I I don't. So, um, the triggers are obviously we can, mitigate being triggered by understanding when we're about to watch a film or hear someone tell me or recant their story. Those are unavoidable triggers. And then there are times when things trigger me that I had no idea they were going to trigger me. Scrolling through social media, being out in public, smelling something that just reminded me or takes me back, uncontrollable triggers. For me, what I do is to understand and then to just go through it, because stopping,
Mhm.
um, I give I give space to my triggers. I give space to my healing so that I know
Yeah.
that on the other side of it is my advocacy, is my resilience, is my ability to empower somebody else. Um, I understand the language of pain. And because I do, and I give myself that ability to remember the language and hear the voice when survivors come to me and talk to me, I can connect with them and I can understand what they're saying because I allow myself to go through that. I allow myself
Yeah.
to figure out what that trigger was. And sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Nothing more frustrating to then be triggered or have a panic attack and you can't even figure out why.
Yeah. So what does healing look like for you post your attack? What does that do other than you, well, of course, like, and I just want to applaud you for being able to sit in it. A lot of times we as humans, we run from our pain. we
Mhm.
we will suppress some shit in a heartbeat. Nope, not dealing
Yeah.
with that right now. Nope, nope, nope. Right? We'll suppress it. We'll ignore it. But the fact that you are strong enough to sit in it is mind blowing. But what are some other healthy coping mechanisms that you found that helps you, that has aided in your healing journey?
First and foremost, my faith. Like hands
Yes.
down, I don't let me remove Deandra from this factor altogether because I am inherently flawed and mess up on a regular basis every hour. On the hour, I am messing up. So first and foremost, it has always been my faith. It was my faith that that young man that you raped me in my home used against me. I mean, it literally told me that Christians like you, because I stood in my faith, it is the one thing, hands down, that has gotten me through this. Being able to connect to my father, but then I have an incredible support system. When I tell you, I get emotional about my friends, my circle, my daddy, because I got a daddy's dad, right? Um, People have seen my dad. Sorry, my eyes. When I start to get emotional about my dad, people have seen, the Chronicles of Carlton on my social media about my father. But it, those people keep me grounded. Those people
Yes.
intercede for me when I don't have the language or the words when something is going on with me. So I'm grateful that I have that support system. What helps me is trying to create that for somebody else who doesn't. How can I
Yes.
intercede for you, survivor? How can I help you get to the other side of what you're going through?
Yeah. And I think the most sucky part about it is a lot of times people, like you said, right? You said you went to the military because it was kind of like to escape from what was happening at home. And a lot of us, we use it as an escape from what we're dealing with.
Mhm.
So I'm running from trauma probably already. And now I done ran smack dab. I'm running to a safe place, a start over, a redo, a new beginning, only to be hit with another
Mhm.
blow. Like, it's
As we used to say, out of the pan and into the fire.
right. Exactly. That's exactly what that's like. Dr.
Yeah.
D, what type of conversations need to be had as it concerns sexual assault prior to joining the military, prior to joining the service? What do those conversations need to look like?
So I got 3 kids. I have 2 boys and a daughter. My baby girl is the youngest, right?
Okay.
If I'm speaking specifically to young Black girls, young Black women that are going into the military, the conversation that needs to be had is know yourself. Confidence, self esteem work has to be done because you need to
Mhm.
understand who you are. Cohesion doesn't mean conformity.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? You can
Mhm.
still show up and do your job and support your battle buddies and the people to the left and the right as you raise your right hand to defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that you have to conform to the behaviors of what's going in there. You are meant and
Yes.
designed to stand out. That's what I would tell them.
That's beautiful. I had shout out to Tiffany Lewis Jones, Tiffany Jones Lewis, sorry Tiff. She was on the podcast a couple weeks ago and she said one of the reasons why she got out is because she couldn't conform. She just couldn't conform to what
Mhm,
the military wanted her to conform to. And I think going in, especially for, like you said, for young Black women, knowing thyself it's such a cliche, right? You hear it all the time. It's an Instagram post.
mhm.
Um, but you really got to know who you are, because if you don't, somebody in the military, they're going to manipulate you and they're going to tell you who you are and they're going to make you believe it. And that person that they
Yep.
tell you are, it might be somebody that don't got a lot of self-esteem. They might not be
Mhm,
beautiful. They're going to tell you whatever it is that they want you to think about yourself. So you got to already go in with the no. Like, that's a
mhm.
lie. That's not who I am. Uh-uh. Right? You have to know and be solid in self. Um
Yes.
how were you able to turn your pain into purpose and passion?
So that's kind of the other side of being a survivor in trauma work, right? So when we talk about people that run away from things that happen to them, some of us find things that become addictive behaviors. gambling, drugs, alcohol, eating, right? Something is usually a supplement to, I don't want to deal with this, and instead I'm going to replace it with something else. For me, it was the sake of being busy. I'm gonna be, listen, I'm gonna keep it a buck and 100. When I started Glass Soldier, I was bleeding all over the place. I
Really?
was angry. Oh yeah. I was like, I'm gonna show them.
You just out here
I'm
like
coming
that?
after you. Listen, shots fired. Okay. I was like, every the language on my website, everything. I'm like, I'm coming after the DOD. We're going after you, General so and so. We're going to come for you, Sergeant Major. So, oh yeah, I was angry. I was bleeding all over the place. I did not go about this the right way.
Wow.
Don't do what I did. Don't don't be like I
Put your
wasn't Dr.
shotguns
D.
up.
I wasn't Dr. D then. Um, and so I was busy for the sake of being busy. And so what really helped me was, again, this incredible support system I had: my mother, my father, my sisters, at the time, my husband, who helped me really helped me see that I had to put a stop to the bleeding. I couldn't just put a tourniquet on it and just keep going and not addressing the
Yeah.
wound, not addressing the limp, right? So I had
Yeah.
to wrestle with a lot of things. I turned that around by understanding that it won me. Because at first I didn't have my website. I wasn't telling anybody my story. That's none of y'all business. Remember, I'm in the Mind Your Business ministry. The doors of the church are open at all
If I'm minding
times.
my business, you don't need to mind my business, okay?
Right.
I got my business. Don't worry about my business.
Exactly. I didn't want my face on the website. I didn't want my story or anything. But as I slowly came to heal and understand um, that there is power in what I went through, there is purpose in my pain, and um, I wouldn't be who I am. I get asked that question all the time: do I regret it? Would I change anything? No, no, no. Do I want to go through an assault or a rape or domestic violence? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying in this moment right now, who I am, where the journey here is not necessarily the end of my story. And so because I hold on to that hope and give people the hope as well, that there's more
Yeah.
to be, there's more to life. There's more than this. Removing myself from the victim mentality and putting myself in that
Mhm.
survivor mentality, that thriving mentality. That's, to me, how I turned it around.
When dealing with something like
Turn it
sexual assault, what's the difference between being a victim and being a survivor? Because I feel like with SA, that's probably the only time in life where it's okay to that, and like just any like violent crime. I feel like that's when it's okay to say I was a victim of this. So what is the
Mhm.
difference between being a victim and being a survivor?
The mindset of knowing after this, the victim mentality will put someone in bad things always happen to me. That's the
Mm.
victim mindset. This thing happened to me, and now everything following is because of that thing. They tie it all together.
Mm.
Bad things always happen to me. Nothing ever good comes my way. The survivor mentality is knowing that life is going to happen. Life is going life. There are some things that you can't control, but who can you control? What can you control? And
Yes.
putting yourself in that
Mhm.
mindset that, yeah, I'm going to get knocked down. And I've been in the mud. Listen, I've had some friends where there's been some days where I'm like, I can't. And they have gotten down in the mud with me, like, sis, it sucks down here, but you got to come up on out of here. We can't stay
Yeah.
here.
Yes.
You can't get nothing done here. Yeah.
Right. It's not productive. It's not productive. Now, you
Yeah.
currently have a for profit and a non-profit, and this is a Six Figure Vet podcast. And I heard in an interview you say that you did everything wrong when you first started. So, in a business sense, what would you change as it relates to the business aspect of starting a for profit and a non-profit?
So, one, I would understand how to have the two of them function together and work together because I didn't understand that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
as cores and really getting them paying the people that are experts. Like, girl, stop trying to Google and go into YouTube University for everything.
It don't work. It don't work.
There's some things you can get from Google and from YouTube. Like if you want to fix your washer, you want to learn how to plant a garden. Law
Don't
is not
start
one
no
of them.
whole. Don't go to YouTube University trying to learn how to start no whole company.
No,
Okay, from the HR department, and I'm shout out to YouTube because it definitely taught me how to start a podcast. But outside of that, I've been trying to start a couple other things and using YouTube. I'm like, baby, let me book me a consultation with somebody professional before I mess around and piss Uncle Sam off.
because it's YouTube, just like social media, are sound bites and bite-sized pieces, right? Because they got to get you as
Yes.
much information as possible. They leaving out that process. Okay. They got to get you in within a certain amount of time and they're going to leave some things out. And then you got to pay them to tell you the rest. So why don't you just go ahead and pay
Yep.
them people their money?
Right, from the jump. From the jump. So you don't have holes all in your business that's supposed to be filled with the price that you could have paid them in the front. Exactly. I love that.
It, yeah.
Um you also said in the interview with let's give a shout out to our good sisters over there. She served, she rose. I
Yeah.
love those ladies.
Yeah.
That passion and determination wasn't enough to run a business. And I love Black people. I love us for real, okay? From our hair to our beautiful skin. But we are the kings and queens of thinking that passion and determination is just like, okay, that's all I need. And it's not enough in business. So, what are your top three things that you would put on that list?
To in terms of starting a business,
Just in business, if passion and determination isn't enough to run a business, what three things will get you on a good foot?
um, oh, I've never been stuck. I'm like, oh, I've never been stuck with a question. This is interesting.
She
What
been firing back off at me. I'm like, dang, she was ready for that.
Listen, because that's my wheelhouse of genius. You got me outside my wheelhouse of genius. Let me listen. First of all, I already said don't follow me, please. If anything, let me be the example of what not to do. I am the anti-business starter, okay?
Uh-huh.
Anti-business starter. The outside of the expertise, besides passion and purpose, because passion doesn't always equal profit, right? I think people
Yeah.
really should understand whether you are doing this for a profit. And if so, then you really need to understand the passion part. How can you keep the passion? Because your passion may not turn into income for you. And just like, if you, for those that have worn a uniform, when you first get in, whether you're a junior and whether you're enlisted or you're an officer, when you're down in the lower ranks, you're connected with the soldiers, the service members, right? But the further up you
Right.
go, the higher you get elevated, the less you're connected, right? You're like gun ho, doe eyed, change agent, ready to come in and impact people's lives. That's how most people in the business industry go into it. Like, what can I do to impact people's lives? But then the further they go up, the more money they make, the less they feel connected to their purpose, to that
Yeah.
passion. So I would tell somebody, if you can figure out how to still keep that passion and make a profit, or somehow just, make this the volunteer part or the part where you give back. Keep that part
Mm-hmm.
connected. Like you got a product, that's great, but then how are you connecting that yourself to the part that you makes you passionate? Why did you start that
Right.
candle company? Why
Right.
did you, write that book? Um, that was like the long roundabout answer because I don't know if I got two more in me.
No, that one was really good though, because that one was really good because a lot of people start and you don't listen. I'm not even gonna put myself out like that. A lot of people, not the 6-figure vet, start businesses out of these passion fueled ideas, and it was really meant to be a hobby. It
Mhm.
was really meant to be a hobby. It wasn't meant to turn into a Fortune 500 company. It was meant for probably just a piece of my healing journey, honestly. I wasn't supposed to try to monetize it.
Right.
But with social media and how everybody likes to glamorize turning $1 into a gazillion, it's easy to
Mhm.
fall up into the trap. And I've done that maybe once or twice in my past life when I was somebody else. So Dr. D, it has been a pleasure talking to you today. Oh my gosh, you have dropped so many gems and opened my eyes, I know, to facts about what's going on. This has been a beautiful conversation. How can the people support the Glass Soldier? And before I let you go, I know the story. I know the backstory behind Glass Soldier, but can you tell the people how you came up with the beautiful name Glass Soldier for your nonprofit?
Yeah. It came to me when I was actually waiting for my trial. As I was sitting there, some people talk about they can hear the voice of God. He don't talk to me like that. I don't. It's not the audible voice that other people be having. But there was something about me, starting this organization, and as I was finished up my trial and got back to my unit, there was an incident with another leader who said to me that the military doesn't need officers like me, that I was broken. And I was like, again, I rebuke you. I am not. But I
Right.
started thinking about that. And so Glass Soldier came about because a lot of people look at glass as fragile, as something that,
Yeah.
can easily be broken. But glass has taken on can take on so many different forms and it can be beautiful, but it's also sharp. And once you break
Yeah.
it, you don't want to pick it back up and you have to handle it with care.
Mhm.
And so, um, to me, Glass Soldier is all of those things. The tempered glass that can't be broken, that might be
Yeah.
shattered, but you can't break it. The stained glass that's beautiful to look at, that took time to make,
Yeah.
um, glass that is blown, that has to go through the fire in order for it to be molded into something beautiful. You understand? So Glass Soldier is just an incorporation of so many things, and everything about surviving.
That's so beautiful. Now, how can we support the Glass Soldier?
One, if honestly, there are three things that I really need with this organization. I need board members that got skin in the game. I would love to have some really dynamic people that have some teeth in it and are gritty. Okay, this my
Yes.
mama said. You gotta have grit. Um,
Yes.
The second thing is just when you see something that I'm promoting, please share it. Another
Yes.
survivor, these monthly webinars that I have are my way of impacting service members that have not told their story, that live with their story, and just want a safe space to come in and say, I'm really pissed off about what happened to me, but I want to connect to a community of people that understand. So sharing what I'm doing. And then third, honestly, is money. Um, if you can write a check
I know
and
that's
tell
right.
somebody about it. Yeah, especially if you're still connected to the military, coming out and doing these trainings. I don't come out to just give commanders motivation. I come out to give them tools. So if you're connected to
Yes.
somebody in the military that still doesn't matter what branch it is, I will come out and give them some tools.
Amazing. Amazing. Now tell the people where they can reach you at. Where your socials.
Glasssoldier.org is our
Yes.
website. Glass Soldier is on LinkedIn. We are on Instagram, and we are on Facebook. Most of the information that you can't find on our website, you'll find on our social media about all the things that we're doing in terms of our monthly webinars. Act to End is my consulting, and that's acttoendcoaching.com. You can find me on there, or you can send me an email. It's Diandra, Diandra at glasssoldier.org.
Yes.
And don't forget the
And
three
speaking
S's,
of
because a
grit,
lot
you
of
have
people
some, you got a book that just dropped or is about to drop or already dropped. Talk about the book. We can't forget about the
already
book.
dropped. Darn, and I left it over there. Yeah, Grit is my journal called Get Ready Intentionally Today. It incorporates everything from me from a survivor's perspective and my work in the military in helping you go through weekly goals, setting those weekly goals, what you need to be intentional about getting to them. And that's for everything from your mental to your physical to your financial.
Love that. And all of those will be linked in the show notes below. So if you miss what she said, don't even worry about it because the Six Figure Vet got you. Again, I want to say thank you so much for taking time to come on the Six Figure Vet podcast. This has been another amazing episode. The Six Figure Vet is out. If you are a veteran, active duty service member, or civilian that is currently in a mental health crisis or suffers from mental health issues, please dial 988. Trained crisis responders are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and the calls are completely confidential. Again, that number is 988. Veterans and service members, press 1. You don't have to suffer in silence.
Quantum Records.